I think I was too young to be knowing what
You didn't need
that.
a booster. I mean, you don't need a booster now,
Oh.
much less before.
Welcome back to another episode of Relations, a podcast where we focus on giving you information about health, food, fitness, sex, anything
Everything.
you can think of that adds something positive to your life, right?
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
Dr. Tyler.
And Gabriel,
If you haven't met us before, it's nice to see you here.
welcome back.
Welcome back. We are on our current journey where we are discussing,
Reading.
reviewing a book that we have really appreciated called The
The
Penis
penis
Book.
book.
And it's written by a urologist who I very much respect. And it gives you some really great information and context on some issues that maybe have bothered you in the past, maybe bother you now, maybe may bother you in the future. So personally, I think it's a great resource for any man or person with a penis out there that just wants to be well informed.
Yeah, it's not just about the penis, like we
Yeah.
said it before. It's about the overall health. And we are learning a lot of things here.
Yeah.
Last episode, we learned that size doesn't really matter unless you are the person who thinks your size matters.
Yeah.
And today we're learning the things that you can do to enhance your genitalia.
This chapter is called Harder, Bigger, Faster, Penis Enhancements. And it starts by explaining that you will not be disappointed by the various copious options for penis enhancement things you can purchase online. I'm sure you've seen many, many ads. And the question is it all snake oil? Is it all just from snakes? How do you navigate such a difficult area? Because you're constantly being told that there are all these new
medications,
ancient
supplements.
medications that have been used to help increase your size. And while there are some natural options out there, some herbs, some vitamins, and things you can take to temporarily increase your size or to plump it up during activities, there's nothing really out there that's going to elongate or create a larger size while flaccid or soft. So if you're looking for something out there to purchase and consume or ingest that might increase your size, there's just nothing on the market that has any validity to it. The problem is in this area too, a lot of the things that are for sale that can even temporarily increase your size are quite dangerous.
Right.
So the majority of them say they're all natural and this and that, but clinical evidence has shown us something different. There have been studies where they took a lot of the things they found either at a gas station or a drugstore or online, studied them, and 8 in 10, so 80% of them, all were actually found to have contaminants or non-natural substances. Some of them even contain prescription medications like Viagra or Cialis, and so some people would take them and say, oh, this works. Right, but there's no prescription involved. And while in general, most people can tolerate this medication well, you still want to have a doctor prescribe it for you. You want to make sure that it's okay because it can dangerously lower your blood pressure and increase your risk of a heart attack or other issues for people out there who have medical concerns. Again, in general, most patients can tolerate ED medicines pretty well, but you still want to have a doctor prescribe it for you, not get it at a gas station.
So, be careful with the things they're trying to sell you out there because, like you said, those things are not scientifically proven to enlarge your genitalia.
You want to consider that the average penis size is 5.5 inches. The average couple has sex for about 6 minutes.
We talked about this in the last 2 videos.
Yeah, average amount of semen produced is less than half of a teaspoon. The average young person can manage to have sex once a night. The average 50-year-old once a week. So you want to put yourself in comparison to others in this category because it can just reassure you that you're normal. Granted, if you're 50 years old and you want to have sex more than once a week, which I certainly would, there's options out there to help you. So talk to a doctor. Don't consider that to be sort of your last hurrah once a week, but don't go to a drugstore or to
trying to find
the internet to find a solution. Right.
It's like what we talked about in the last video too. A lot of us compare ourselves to others. So when we compare ourselves, our size to other people, we feel less than.
On a positive note, there are several studies that have confirmed that there are things that you can take that can enhance your sexual abilities or your penis size during sex. Those, luckily, have been studied. We do know they work, and oftentimes they're combined. So you can find a certain supplement that will contain multiple. The one that comes to the top of my head first is ginseng.
Ginseng's like an herb?
Yeah, and the definition here in the book says ginseng root is touted as having benefits for boosting energy, maintaining mental sharpness, lowering inflammation, lowering blood pressure, and increasing sexual stamina. The mechanism in which the book explains is it typically is going to result in increasing nitric oxide, which we've talked about in multiple videos in the past. Nitric oxide is one of the key components to relax the smooth muscle in our penis, allowing blood flow to increase. So something you can consider adding into your smoothie or to your tea. Where would we put ginseng?
I don't know.
We don't eat
Does it have a
smoothies.
taste?
Yeah, it's like a rooty,
Is it kind of like a tea? Like you make a tea of it?
I don't know. What would you use ginseng with? The ginseng is not going to be something that we add into our diet, clearly. What would you do with it?
Maybe someone out there knows and takes ginseng
Yeah,
and could help
where
us.
can we add it? Tell us all. I'm sure
We'd
that
love to try, for scientific purposes, obviously.
Yeah, another one that you often find at a gas station. It's called horny goatweed. Have you ever heard of this before?
I saw the name. I thought it was hilarious, but I didn't hear before.
Horny goatweed, the book says, yes, it's really a thing. Legend has it that a goat herd noticed his goats getting more sexually aroused. Let's not go there, but somehow he knew. This plant was found primarily in Asia and is now ornamentally grown in the West. So the active ingredient in horny goatweed is going to boost nitric oxide, just like all the other supplements out there that are going to improve sexual function, just like some ED medications. And yeah, the issue that can occur though is like many supplements, there can be side effects, palpitations, headache, anxiety. So not something you necessarily want to try again. Even just because it's at the gas station doesn't mean you need to buy it.
Exactly. I mean, there are other things that you can do to enhance your experience, not just.
Yeah. Have you used horny goatweed? If so, let us know in the comments.
Maybe
it worked well for you.
Exactly.
Another supplement it talks about is Yohimbine, which is actually found from a tree's bark in Africa. Similarly, it is going to increase nitric oxide in the blood vessels and has been potentially linked to improving climax, something else you could consider trying. Maca Root is the real Peruvian penis powder pill.
Wow.
But whether it's truly powerful is controversial. The plant grows in the high plains of Peru and makes a small radish-sized root that can be cooked and eaten in a variety of ways. And of course, this is also going to increase nitric oxide, which Cialis and Viagra will do much more effectively for you if you talk to a doctor. So consider that. Ginkgo Biloba can increase energy levels, again, can increase nitric oxide. The other supplements are also going to be boosting nitric oxide. So these include L-carnitine, which is actually often found in pre-workout and workout supplements. L-arginine, L-citrulline. These are all amino acid byproducts that increase nitric oxide. Ginger may also increase nitric oxide production. That's something we like in our sushi.
Yeah. And in the salad, ginger salad. Another
popular supplement out there that gets a lot of attention is something called DHEA. This is actually a hormone that our body naturally produces, but you can consume it. And clinical evidence has been conflicted in some areas because some patients believe they've read or seen things that show it can increase testosterone, or it can improve libido or erections. And what's actually been documented is that it is more powerful at increasing estrogen and actually doesn't have much of an effect on testosterone. So I do not recommend DHEA. The book also agrees. In fact, DHEA can also increase LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, and reduce HDL, which is your good cholesterol. So in general, if you're concerned about your erection strength, talk to a doctor. If you're concerned about your testosterone value, talk to a doctor. Don't take it into your own hands because it can get quite complex and you may be doing more harm than good.
Yeah, and you may have some side effects from those herbs.
Exactly. So don't rush to the gas station if you're concerned. Again, there is a great ability too for us in the 21st century to reach a doctor online. It doesn't have to be me. It can be many of the asynchronous websites where you can just chat with a doctor, talk to one over video, talk to one over the phone, or see your primary doctor who knows you the best and they can determine what's going to be best for you moving forward.
I love that.
Do you know what a penis pump is?
I don't think I would have known without reading the book.
So it's also known as a vacuum erection device. So basically it's a tube with this little kind of other tube that attaches to a bulb, and it works to create suction as you sort of insert yourself into it. And what it does is as it is creating that pressure, pulling blood into the genitalia. The goal is to hopefully not only create an erection, but maybe stretch the tissue.
Wow. So you can enlarge your penis?
That's the goal, is to enlarge it. But as you can imagine, we're not very flexible in that sense, right?
No.
If you pull on your arm as long as you want, granted, your arms are connected by bones and your penis is not. So maybe there's some idea that, the vacuum technique could help. There is some clinical evidence that was shown that it can increase the size by like a tenth of a centimeter, which may be beneficial for some people, but what it's really effective at is creating an erection. So if you're struggling to get an erection and you want to do something that doesn't involve pills or medication, and you want to still be able to achieve a maximum result, it can be a good option, especially for men who are not able to take ED meds for whatever reason.
So that pump, you will use it before penetration?
You'd have to, or you won't be able to penetrate, right? That's the goal, is to get it hard enough to penetrate. Because most men who can already penetrate, they wouldn't consider themselves to have erectile dysfunction or issues with their erection. So most of the men, they'll need to do that first. So that suction is going to pull the blood to the genitalia, help them create an erection. And usually once it's there, you can use your sexual desire to keep it there. It's a lot of the time, the most difficult part for men is to achieve the erection, not necessarily maintain it.
So it helps with the blood flow, but like you said, it doesn't help with maintaining that blood there. If the problem of erectile dysfunction is not physical, it's mental, you're still not going to have,
That's
the
a really
optimal.
Good point. Yeah. So if you're people who typically have more of a mental block with erectile dysfunction, sometimes they can't achieve. And a lot of times they fail to maintain because their brains get distracted or they think of other things or stress comes up. So yeah, if you're able to achieve with the pump and insert and then you get distracted, unfortunately, that can be frustrating.
Yeah, not the solution.
So again, penis pump's great to make an erection, not so good to increase the size of your penis. Beyond that, we're going to penis traction. Which was difficult for me to read. I get a little squeamish, which is funny because I went through medical school. I've been in surgery rotations. I've delivered babies. But when I read or watch TV about certain things, my brain don't like it.
Well, when you're reading things that affect us in a way, we visualize ourselves and our genitalia going through this process, and it's kind of painful.
Yeah, so there are devices out there that you can use. Please talk to your doctor first, that can create traction or can pull on the penis. And typically they are metal, clunky, and you have to leave them on for about 4 hours.
Wow. Every day.
Every day.
Wow.
And typically the results are not significant enough to where a person is going to be able to pleasure their partner more or to see more of a dramatic improvement in their size themselves. So again, not something that's typically recommended.
Well, for some people that might make a difference.
But if you're normal, probably not.
Right.
And that's what the book says. Some were showers, some were growers, but there was no real increase in girth. And the gains were more substantial when the penis is abnormally shortened. So if you are experiencing this issue and you're in that lower 2.5 percentile of all men, there may be some benefit there for you because it can make a more substantial change. But for those out there who are already normal or average, it's really not worth the 4 hours a day for 6 months.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
Yeah, and it's not comfortable by any means.
Right.
You're stretching your genitalia.
Not convenient, not comfortable.
Yeah, there's another technique it talks about called Jelqing. I'd never heard of this before, but apparently it works by you creating an OK symbol at the sort of head of the base of the head of the penis, and you basically just pull multiple times to create traction with your own hand. But as you can imagine, if it takes 4 hours of using a device every day for 6 months to get results, Jelqing has zero credibility behind it. So whatever this phase was, I never got to me. And there is no validity behind it. You're probably getting more of a forearm workout than you're doing anything to your penis. So you can stop while you're ahead. The next topic here that they dive into a little bit is enlargement surgery. There are
some things that you can do, surgically speaking.
Yeah. The problem with having surgery in the penis area is the skin really wants to create fibrous tissue or scar very easily. So these men that do undergo the procedure have a higher risk of scarring, which can actually result in something that we'll discuss later, a specific disease that can bend or make it more painful for you to receive an erection. So again, it's something you want to talk to your doctor about with tons of information and be 100% sure that that is something that you're committed to. Studies report up to 90% of men who initially came into their doctor for treatment declined once they were educated on how normal that they are.
Wow. See, sometimes people just need education.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping to do on a large scale here. But again, I'm not trying to replace your doctor. So talk to them. They'll help you out. The end of this chapter talks about how you can bling out your penis. If you'd like to do a piercing or if you'd like to add some
garments.
It talks a little bit about how some cultures actually do various forms of surgical changes to their penis by inserting even types of bones. And
or
what
cuts.
Darwin assumed, because he actually saw this when he visited the Galapagos Islands and areas of Ecuador, is that some tribes were using this in a way to attract mates. So it was almost like the more blinged out your genitalia was, the more attractive you were, which can make sense. Not to me, but to evolution
cultural
and cultures. That's just not my culture, but it's really interesting. I will not go into further detail because the photos will do all of that for you. So take a look at the book if you're interested in blinging out your penis. But what do you think? What do you think of this topic?
It must be very painful
to have surgery down there. Absolutely.
As well as pierce on your...
But some actually men do it to enhance sensation. You can get certain piercings, which maybe some of our viewers have had or know someone who've had. I will say I've seen it in clinical practice.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody's different, though. That you have things that, may spark you that don't spark me and vice versa. So,
yeah.
But the thing I want you to walk away with this is that you're normal, most likely, if you fit into the 95% bell curve like most of us do. You're not going to find anything super beneficial online or at a drugstore or in a gas station. So talk to your doctor. That's what they're there for. I know it can be difficult for a lot of us to reach out to a physician, but
there's no magic pill.
Hopefully you can, shunt your resources in that direction instead of spending money on a magic pill that is supposed to create more size for you, because that's going to lead you down a path of frustration.
I think a lot of the times too, marketing helps people think that something is wrong with their penis and they can do something to improve. It's either with herbs, supplements, or enhancement surgeries. So we have this idea that, enlargement is possible, at least like from the advertised perspective, right? Because they keep showing us ads, keep showing that it could be better, when in reality, it's already better. It's already perfect.
Yeah, and if it's not, if you're having a problem, that's when your doctor comes in handy. So we hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet already, please
like this video, subscribe to our channel, comment, share it to your friends. You know what to do.
We look forward to seeing you next week for another dive into another chapter of the Penis book.
Yeah, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.